Long before today's behemoths ruled the mines, there were giants forged from raw steel and unshakable ambition, machines that refused to die. Built in an age of experimentation and audacity, these trucks weren't just tools. They were declarations of power, endurance, and defiance. Many were written off as relics, yet decades later, they still rumble across the earth, carrying the weight of history with every load. Their names are whispered like legends, symbols of a time when innovation had no blueprint and survival meant rewriting the rules. Euclid R15, 1951, the pioneer of haulage. In 1951, deep in the heart of America's post-war industrial boom, a green giant rolled out of Euclid's Ohio factory, a machine that would redefine what heavy duty truly meant. It was called the Euclid R15, and it wasn't just another truck built for the mines. It was a turning point, the birth of the modern haul truck, a purpose-built machine forged not for highways or cities, but for the unforgiving wilderness of raw earth and stone. Before the R15, the mining industry relied on converted road trucks, surplus military vehicles, and crude, improvised rigs, patched together with hope, grit, and welding rods. They were never meant to endure the crushing loads, sharp inclines, and relentless punishment of open-pit mining. Euclid engineers saw the inefficiency, the constant breakdowns, the wasted hours, and from that vision came a radical idea: build a truck specifically for mining, one that could haul rock after rock, day after day, without surrender. The result was the R15, a hulking green brute of steel and diesel. It stood tall and square, all function and zero glamour, wearing its utilitarian armor like a badge of the honor. With a 15-ton payload capacity, a frame of thick, battle-ready steel, and the unmistakable growl of a Detroit diesel 671 engine, it thundered through quarries with a sound that echoed like artillery across the valleys. To miners, it looked less like a truck and more like a mechanical fortress, a symbol of strength in an age defined by labor and grit. And it didn't just look tough, it was tough. The R15 clawed its way up muddy slopes where others sank and tore through terrain that crushed lesser machines. It shrugged off rocks, weather, and time itself. Operators came to trust it like an old friend, while mechanics praised its simplicity. No fragile electronics, no over-engineered systems, just gears, grease, and an unbreakable heart. It wasn't the biggest nor the fastest, but it earned something far more valuable: reliability. In mining, that meant survival. Some miners would joke, "You'd break the earth before you'd break an R15. That reputation transformed Euclid from a modest Ohio builder into a global force. The R15's success spawned a dynasty: the R22, R35, and the mighty R170, each pushing the boundaries of payload and power. And soon, rivals like Caterpillar and WABCO took notice, dissecting Euclid's blueprint, trying to match its genius. More than 70 years later, a handful of R15s still grind through remote quarries, their faded paint and patched panels whispering tales of decades past. Rebuilt, repainted, resurrected countless times, they remain stubbornly alive. Mechanical ghosts from an era when machines were built to last forever. It was never meant to be famous, but it became a legend, the first of its kind, the father of all that followed. The Euclid R15, the pioneer of haulage. Caterpillar 769, 1963, the machine that defined a generation. By the early 1960s, the mining world was changing fast. Operations were growing larger, haul roads longer, and expectations higher. The post-war boom had fueled a global hunger for steel, copper, and coal, and miners needed machines that could match the scale of this new industrial era. Into that landscape thundered a yellow Titan, the Caterpillar 769, launched in 1963. It would become not just a truck, but a symbol of progress, and the machine that defined a generation of miners. Caterpillar had already earned its reputation with bulldozers and graders, machines that shaped continents. But the 769 was something different. It was CAT's first true off-highway dump truck, built from the ground up for mining, quarrying, and heavy construction. Where others adapted existing designs, Caterpillar started fresh, fusing decades of field experience into a single, purpose-built hauler. The result was a masterpiece of durability and design. The 769 carried a 35-ton payload, more than double the Euclid R15's, powered by the Caterpillar D343 turbocharged diesel engine capable of over 400 horsepower. Its powertrain was a marvel of balance, pairing brute strength with mechanical precision. The frame was thick, rigid, and engineered to absorb constant abuse. Its massive tires bit into rock and dirt with unshakable grip. Yet, what truly set it apart was its reliability, a word miners would come to associate with the Caterpillar name for decades. Operators quickly fell in love with the 769. Its cab was simple yet comfortable, visibility wide, controls responsive. It could haul in heat or cold, through mud, dust, or gravel, and return shift after shift, year after year. Entire fleets of 769s worked in unison like yellow armies, carving landscapes and feeding the furnaces of industry. And while competitors like Euclid, WABCO, and Terex fought for market share, the 769 quietly built a legacy. It became the gold standard of mid-sized haulers, so trusted that many operations ran them for decades before ever considering replacement. Some were rebuilt 5, 6, even 10 times, each overhaul breathing new life into machines that refused to die. The 769 didn't just move rock, it moved the industry forward. It helped establish Caterpillar's dominance in the off-highway market and set the design language for nearly every Cat truck that followed. Its DNA can still be seen in modern models like the 770 and 772, proof of a design philosophy that prized longevity over obsolescence. Today, more than 60 years later, some 769s are still working, their paint faded, but their engines roaring strong. They've outlived their factories, their mechanics, even the companies they once served. In every quarry and pit where one still runs, it stands as a testament to an era when machines were built not to impress, but to endure. The Caterpillar 769, a legend forged in steel, and the machine that defined a generation. Terex 3311, 1967, the Green Giant. By the late 1960s, as global industries roared into overdrive and open pit mines stretched deeper than ever before, the demand for machines that could move mountains grew impossible to ignore. The world's hunger for raw materials, iron for skyscrapers, copper for grids, coal for energy, demanded a new breed of truck, one capable of enduring the relentless grind of 24-hour operations. It was in this crucible of ambition and necessity that the Terex 3311 emerged, a massive green titan that would earn the name the Green Giant. Terex itself was born from transformation. Once known as Euclid, a name synonymous with pioneering haulage, the company was absorbed by General Motors, who sought to build upon Euclid's hard-earned legacy while projecting a modern, global identity. The rebranding to Terex, Latin for Earth King, was not just cosmetic. It signaled a new vision, one driven by scale, power, and endurance. The 33-11, unveiled in 1967, became the embodiment of that promise, a machine conceived not as a mere tool, but as a force of nature forged in steel. With its 60-ton payload, its towering stance, and its unmistakable green armor, the 3311 was powered by the bellowing Detroit diesel 12Fe71, a twin-engine powerhouse delivering more than 800 horsepower, funneled through an Allison automatic transmission that translated raw torque into smooth, unstoppable motion. It could claw its way up steep mine ramps burdened with rock, shrug off the pounding of uneven terrain, and keep moving long after lesser trucks had been reduced to scrapyard relics. Its design was brutally simple, yet profoundly intelligent. Modular, serviceable, and unpretentious, built for longevity, not luxury. In the minds of North America, South America, and Australia, the 33-11 became a symbol of reliability. Operators trusted its steady pull, mechanics admired its accessibility, and managers prized its uptime in an industry where every hour lost meant thousands of dollars gone. Painted in its signature shade of green, it was instantly recognizable even through clouds of dust and haze, its silhouette cutting across horizons like a moving monument to industrial might. For Terex, the 3311 was more than a product. It was a declaration that the legacy of Euclid had not faded but evolved. It carried forward that original spirit of durability and defiance, proving that even under a new banner, the philosophy remained unchanged. Build machines that outlast generations. And outlast it did. Decades later, many 3311s still rumble through quarries and pits, their frames patched, their paint worn thin, yet their engines still roaring with the same unyielding spirit. They stand today as survivors from a time when engineering meant overbuilding, when strength was a virtue, and when endurance defined greatness. The Terex 3311 was not the most refined nor the most glamorous, but it was undeniably one of the toughest, a green colossus that refused to bow to time. The Green Giant, the Terex 3311, a machine forged to last forever. Komatsu HD325, 1968, Japan's iron answer. By the late 1960s, as the post-war world rebuilt and redefined itself, Japan was no longer content to be a follower in the industrial race. It was becoming a force determined to rival the giants of America and Europe. Steel mills thundered, shipyards blazed with sparks, and an empire of machinery began to rise from the ashes of war. Among the engines of this new era was Komatsu, a company whose name had already become synonymous with earth-moving might. And in 1968, Komatsu unveiled the HD325, a machine that would stand as Japan's answer to the hulking haulers of the West, a declaration that the East could build giants of its own. Unlike its American rivals, who relied on brute strength and sheer size, Komatsu approached engineering with precision, a philosophy born from constraint, discipline, and an obsession with efficiency. The HD325 wasn't just a copy of Euclid or Caterpillar. It was a uniquely Japanese creation, compact yet powerful, refined yet unrelenting, a masterclass in balance. Its 32.5-ton payload placed it squarely among the heavyweights of its day, while its Komatsu-built diesel engine delivered relentless torque and unwavering reliability, capable of hauling ore and stone through the unforgiving landscapes of Asia's growing network of mines and quarries. Every line of its frame was forged with intent, thick steel where it mattered, lighter construction where it could afford to save weight, the result of an engineering philosophy that sought harmony between strength and endurance. Its hydraulic systems were precise, its drivetrain rugged, and its cab, though Spartan, offered the kind of thoughtful ergonomics that reflected Japan's growing mastery of industrial design. Where American trucks roared, the HD325 hummed with quiet purpose, less spectacle, more substance. It quickly earned the respect of operators across Asia, Australia, and eventually the Middle East, where mines demanded machines that could work endlessly with minimal downtime. Maintenance crews praised its accessibility, its forgiving mechanics, and the way it resisted fatigue even in the harshest climates. In a world where every hour of uptime meant survival, the HD325 proved itself a dependable ally, a machine that didn't boast, but delivered. For Komatsu, the HD325 was more than just a haul truck. It was a milestone, the first true statement that Japan could compete in the arena of heavy mining machinery, not as an imitator, but as an innovator. Its success laid the foundation for an entire dynasty of Komatsu haulers, from the HD405 to the Mammoth 930E, each building upon the DNA first forged in that 1968 design. More than half a century later, many HD325s still rumble through remote quarries, their engines rebuilt, their paint faded, yet their spirits unbroken. Proof that Japan's iron answer was not just timely, but timeless. The Komatsu HD325 was not merely a truck, it was a statement, a testament to precision, endurance, and the rise of a new industrial power. Dart 600C, 1970, the forgotten workhorse. In the dawn of the 1970s, as the world's hunger for minerals and steel reached new heights, a lesser-known name quietly rolled into the front lines of mining. Dart, a company that never wore the crown of fame but carried the heart of a fighter. And among its fleet of rugged haulers, none embodied its spirit better than the Dart 600C, a truck built not to dazzle but to endure. While others chased innovation and glory, Dart built machines that simply refused to quit, and in doing so carved out a legacy often overlooked yet impossible to erase. Born in an era dominated by titans like Caterpillar, Euclid, and WABCO, the 600C had no illusions of grandeur. It was a 60-ton class hauler, forged with heavy steel and straightforward engineering, driven by the philosophy that simplicity breeds longevity. Its massive Cummins diesel engine roared with dependable power, delivering torque that could haul mountains of ore day after day, season after season. The 600C's design was unapologetically utilitarian: a boxy frame, oversized tires, and hydraulics built for abuse rather than beauty. It wasn't elegant, but it was unbreakable. Operators loved it for one simple reason: it worked. There were no fragile electronics, no finicky components, just gears, pistons, and raw force. It could climb out of pits slick with clay, shrug off the pounding of boulders, and labor endlessly under punishing loads that would cripple lesser machines. Mechanics called it a wrench's dream. Everything was accessible, repairable, and made to last. In the remote corners of the world, far from dealerships and spare parts, that simplicity was gold. Yet, despite its resilience, the Dart 600C never captured the spotlight. The company lacked the marketing muscle and global reach of its rivals. While Caterpillar's yellow empire grew and Komatsu's precision machinery gained fame, Dart's green and white trucks quietly soldiered on in the shadows, hauling coal in Appalachia, iron in South America, and limestone in forgotten quarries across Asia. They became the unsung heroes of the industry, unseen, underappreciated, but indispensable. As the decades rolled on and technology evolved, Dart faded from the marketplace. Corporate mergers and shifting economics pushed the brand into obscurity. But the 600C endured, patched, rebuilt, and modified by generations of miners who refused to let them die. Some still run today, their steel frames etched with the scars of 1,000 shifts, their engines humming with the pride of a bygone era. The Dart 600C may never have been a headline act, but it was the steady rhythm behind the music, the heartbeat of countless minds that depended on reliability over reputation. It was the embodiment of what miners valued most: strength, simplicity, and stubborn endurance. Forgotten by history, but not by those who worked beside it, the Dart 600C remains a tribute to an age when machines were built not for fame, but for forever. WABCO 35, C, 1971. Engineering for Eternity. By the early 1970s, the world of heavy machinery was evolving rapidly. Power was no longer enough. Endurance was the new frontier. In that race for longevity and reliability, one name stood out among engineers who believed in perfection through precision: WABCO, the Westinghouse Air Brake Company. And from their workshops came the 35C, a mining truck so overbuilt, so meticulously crafted, that many would later call it a machine engineered not for decades, but for eternity. WABCO had a philosophy that set it apart from its competitors. Where others sought to scale up size and horsepower, WABCO focused on balance, a harmony between brute force and mechanical grace. The 35C embodied that vision. With its 35-ton payload, massive reinforced frame, and hydraulics tuned for smooth operation even under crushing loads, it became a favorite in operations that valued dependability above all else. Its Cummins KTA diesel engine, paired with WABCO's legendary electric drive and braking systems, offered a seamless transfer of power, a combination that made it remarkably efficient for its time. But the 35C wasn't just tough, it was smart, at least by the standards of the era. Its transmission and braking systems were designed to reduce wear, its cooling system oversized to handle the harshest climates, and its components modular for easier maintenance. In an industry where downtime was money lost, the 35C quietly became a miner's best friend. a workhorse that simply refused to stop. In quarries across North America, Africa, and Australia, these green-painted titans became a familiar sight, crawling up slopes with the patience of a glacier, hauling stone and ore day after day with a rhythm as steady as the heartbeat of the earth itself. Mechanics marveled at their durability. Operators swore by their stability. There were stories of 35Cs running 20 hours a day for years with little more than routine servicing, a testament to WABCO's uncompromising engineering. Yet, like many great machines, the 35C's brilliance couldn't save its maker from the tides of change. WABCO's construction equipment division was absorbed into Dresser Industries, and the name that once symbolized innovation in mining gradually disappeared from factory walls. But the machines lived on. Decades after their assembly lines went silent, many 35Cs are still working, patched, repainted, and rebuilt, yet still bearing the unmistakable stance of a machine built to outlast its era. In a world obsessed with progress, the WABCO 35C remains a defiant reminder that perfection sometimes doesn't need to evolve. It just needs to endure. It was never the loudest, never the biggest, but perhaps the most faithful companion the mining world ever knew. In the grand history of industrial giants, the WABCO 35C stands as a monument to a lost philosophy that when you build something right, you build it forever. Haulpak 170D, 1972, The Evolutionary Step. By the early 1970s, the mining world was changing fast. Open-pit operations were growing larger, the scale of production was expanding, and the demand for trucks that could carry heavier loads with absolute reliability had never been greater. It was in this era of bold experimentation and mechanical ambition that the Haulpak 170D emerged. A machine that didn't just bridge the gap between old-school brute force and modern sophistication, but defined what the next generation of haul trucks would become. It wasn't merely a product of its time. It was a step forward, an evolutionary leap that reshaped the future of mining transport. The Haulpak brand, born from the vision of Letourneau engineers and refined under the ownership of Kress Corporation and later WABCO, had already built a reputation for rugged, no-nonsense haulers. But the 170D, introduced in 1972, was different. It was larger, smarter, and more balanced than its predecessors, a truck engineered not just for capacity, but for endurance and efficiency. With a 170-ton gross vehicle weight, a payload around 85 tons, and a Cummins KTA 1150 engine roaring under its hood, it delivered a potent mix of muscle and mechanical precision. The 170D was designed with modularity in mind. Components could be swapped, serviced, and upgraded easily, ensuring long-term operability in even the harshest environments. Its robust frame, heavy-duty suspension, and hydraulic systems were built to absorb relentless punishment from the jagged terrain of copper pits, coal mines, and iron quarries. Yet, for all its toughness, the 170D offered something few trucks of its era could match: balance, the perfect harmony of power, payload, and simplicity. Miners quickly learned that the 170D could go where others failed. It clawed up slopes with quiet confidence, shrugged off heat and dust, and kept running shift after shift with minimal downtime. Mechanics loved its straightforward design. Operators trusted its predictability. It was the kind of truck that didn't need to prove itself. Its performance spoke louder than any advertisement could. But beyond its steel and pistons, the 170D represented a philosophical shift. It signaled the move toward standardized modular haulage, a concept that would dominate mining engineering for decades. It was also a foundation upon which future giants would be built. When Komatsu acquired the Haulpak line in the late 1970s, the DNA of the 170D lived on, influencing iconic successors like the HD785 and HD1500, machines that would go on to define the next half-century of mining. Today, scattered across the world, a handful of 170Ds still grind through their endless shifts, their faded paint and patched frames carrying the weight of history. They are living fossils, echoes from a time when every bolt and beam was designed with one purpose: to last. The Haulpak 170D was never just another hauler. It was the missing link, the bridge between eras, the evolutionary step that turned brute machines into legends. Lectra Haul M200, 1973, the electric pioneer. In the early 1970s, when diesel ruled the mines and mechanical drives roared across the pits, one company dared to challenge convention. Lectra Haul, a name synonymous with bold engineering and fearless experimentation, unveiled a machine that seemed almost alien for its time, the M200, a 200-ton class giant that harnessed the power of electricity to move mountains. It was more than a truck. It was a prophecy, a glimpse into the future of mining long before the industry was ready to believe in it. Lectra Haul, founded under Unit Rig and Equipment, had always stood apart from its competitors. Where others refined the same mechanical formulas, Lectra Haul sought to innovate, to find new ways to deliver power, efficiency, and control. The M200, introduced in 1973, was their boldest statement yet. Instead of relying solely on traditional mechanical transmissions, it used a diesel-electric drive system, pairing a massive Detroit diesel V16 engine with electric traction motors that delivered power smoothly to its rear wheels. It was a design decades ahead of its time, one that promised fewer moving parts, better torque control, and greater longevity. With a 200-ton gross vehicle weight and a payload capacity nearing 100 tons, the M200 stood as a formidable presence in any pit it entered. Its frame was built from heavy welded steel, its suspension engineered to absorb the relentless punishment of rock and ore, and its drive system calibrated for precision. Operators described it as unlike anything they had ever driven, quieter, more responsive, and astonishingly steady under load. In a world dominated by roaring diesel giants, the M200 glided like a leviathan powered by lightning. But innovation is often a lonely road. The mining world, conservative and risk-averse, was slow to embrace the electric drive concept. Many operations chose the familiarity of mechanical haulers, leaving the M200 and its siblings to prove their worth in the toughest conditions imaginable. And prove it they did. In copper mines in Arizona, coal pits in South Africa, and gold fields in Australia, the M200 earned a reputation for endurance and efficiency, logging decades of service with minimal downtime. Lectra Haul's electric experiments would later inspire a generation of trucks, from Komatsu's electric drive HD series to Caterpillar's 795 FAC, machines that now dominate the largest mines on Earth. But long before they became standard, the M200 carried the torch, quietly demonstrating that electricity could tame the heaviest loads with grace and precision. Today, a few M200s still work in remote corners of the globe, their paint faded, their frames patched, their hum electric as ever, relics of a vision too far ahead of its time. Though the brand would vanish into history after Unit Rig's acquisition by Terex, the legacy of the M200 lives on in every modern electric drive hauler that rolls across the mines. The Lectra Haul M200 wasn't just a machine, it was a revolution in motion, the electric pioneer that lit the way for the giants to come. WABCO 120B, 1975, the beast built to last. By the mid-1970s, the mining world had entered a golden age of heavy machinery. The race to move more earth, faster and cheaper, drove manufacturers to build bigger, stronger, and more efficient haulers than ever before. Yet, amid the noise of competition and the obsession with innovation, one company quietly produced a machine that would earn a reputation not through spectacle, but through sheer endurance: the WABCO 120B. A truck so rugged and reliable that it became known across continents as the beast built to last. WABCO, already a respected name in the world of industrial engineering, had carved its niche through an unrelenting commitment to quality and mechanical integrity. The 120B, introduced in 1975, was the culmination of years of refinement, a machine forged not for novelty but for permanence. With a 120-ton gross vehicle weight and a payload capacity of around 60 tons, it occupied the perfect middle ground, large enough to compete with the heavyweights, yet agile and efficient enough for diverse mining operations. At its heart was the Cummins KTA 1150C diesel engine, a powerhouse renowned for its torque, dependability, and ability to run endlessly under punishing conditions. Paired with WABCO's advanced electric drive system, it delivered a smooth, consistent surge of power to the wheels, making it one of the most reliable haulers of its generation. Its heavy-duty frame was over-engineered, its suspension capable of soaking up relentless abuse, and its components laid out with the precision of a craftsman who expected his work to outlive him. In mines from the Australian outback to the iron ranges of Brazil, the 120 billion earned a reputation for being indestructible. Operators trusted it implicitly. It could climb inclines slick with mud, shrug off jagged rock impacts, and grind through double shifts without complaint. Mechanics praised its accessibility and straightforward systems. There were no fragile electronics or unnecessary complexities, only mechanical honesty and brute strength. What set the WABCO 120B apart wasn't just how it performed in its prime, but how it endured. Decades after production ceased, many of these machines are still working, often in remote operations where newer, more delicate equipment struggles to survive. Some have been rebuilt multiple times, their frames bearing the scars of countless repairs, their engines overhauled again and again, yet they remain alive, a testament to an era when over-engineering was a badge of honor. When WABCO's construction division was eventually absorbed into Dresser Industries and later into the corporate reshuffling that saw the WABCO name fade from mining, the 120 billion stood as one of its most lasting legacies, a machine that didn't just serve, but endured. In a world where modern trucks are built for planned obsolescence, the WABCO 120B is a stubborn relic of another philosophy, that a true beast is not measured by its horsepower, but by how long it refuses to die. The 120B wasn't just built to work, it was built to last, and it still proves it, one load at a time. Caterpillar 773, 1977, the benchmark of reliability. By the late 1970s, the mining and construction industries were transforming. Operations were expanding, equipment demands were rising, and the call for a truck that could balance power, speed, and unwavering reliability was louder than ever. It was in this pivotal moment that Caterpillar, already an icon of American engineering, unveiled a machine destined to become a standard by which all others would be judged, the Caterpillar 773. More than just another hauler, it was the embodiment of the company's philosophy. The true greatness lies not in spectacle, but in steadfast performance. Introduced in 1977, the 773 was Caterpillar's answer to a new era of productivity. Built with a gross vehicle weight of nearly 160 tons and a payload capacity of around 70 tons, it struck the perfect balance between brute strength and operational flexibility. At its heart roared the CAT 3412 diesel engine, a V12 powerhouse delivering consistent torque and durability under even the harshest conditions. Every bolt, beam, and bearing was designed for longevity, crafted to withstand the punishing demands of open pit mines and massive earth-moving projects. Yet, what truly set the 773 apart wasn't just its muscle, it was its dependability. Where other trucks faltered under constant strain, the 773 simply kept running. Its powertrain was rugged and accessible, its suspension robust yet forgiving, and its frame overbuilt to absorb decades of abuse. Operators found it intuitive and forgiving. Mechanics loved its simplicity and straightforward serviceability. In a world increasingly drawn to complexity, Caterpillar doubled down on what mattered most: machines that worked, shift after shift, year after year. The 773 quickly became a global favorite. From gold mines in Nevada to coal pits in Indonesia, it proved itself on every continent and in every climate. Its ability to adapt, whether hauling ore through blistering desert heat or grinding up muddy inclines in tropical storms, made it a universal workhorse. Fleet managers began measuring uptime by its standards, and competitors quietly took notes. The 773 had become the benchmark of reliability, not through marketing, but through relentless performance. Over the decades, the model evolved through successive generations. The 773B, 773D, 773G, each iteration refining the same timeless blueprint: simplicity, strength, and serviceability. Even as technology advanced and electronics crept into every corner of modern machinery, the spirit of the original 1977 773 endured, a symbol of Caterpillar's commitment to endurance over extravagance. Today, thousands of 773s, both old and new, still thunder across the world's mines, many from the original production years still earning their keep after nearly half a century. Their yellow paint may be faded, their frames scarred, but their engines still sing the same deep, confident growl that made them legends. The Caterpillar 773 wasn't built to impress, it was built to endure. And in doing so, it became more than a machine. It became the benchmark of reliability, the standard every hauler since has tried to meet, but few have ever surpassed. Terex Titan, 1978. The monster that never died. In 1978, at the height of an arms race in heavy machinery, one company dared to dream bigger, literally. While competitors refined fleets of practical, dependable haulers, Terex decided to build something no one had ever seen before. A truck so massive, so audacious, it would tower over every other machine on Earth. They called it the Terex Titan 3319, and it would go on to become both a marvel of engineering and a myth in motion, a single prototype that outlived its own factory and became an icon of industrial ambition. Born from the booming coalfields of Sparwood, British Columbia, the Titan was designed to satisfy the insatiable appetite of an industry moving mountains. Its specifications bordered on the unbelievable: a 350-ton payload, 2,600 horsepower, and a GM 16-cylinder diesel engine mated to an electric traction drive system, a configuration decades ahead of its time. Standing 22 feet tall and stretching nearly 66 feet long, it dwarfed everything around it, a mobile monument to human determination, built for a world that had never seen such scale. Yet the Titan wasn't just built for spectacle. It represented a bold step toward electrified haulage, long before hybrid became a buzzword. Terex engineers believed fleets of Titans could transform mining, replacing convoys of smaller trucks with a single machine capable of swallowing entire hillsides in a single shift. On paper, it was the future, a vision of progress measured not in efficiency, but in sheer magnitude. But the world wasn't ready. The Titan's colossal frame demanded custom infrastructure. Its weight punished roads, strained loaders, and tested the limits of even the toughest terrain. Every component was bespoke, every repair a challenge. And as the global mining boom waned in the early 1980s, the economic case for such a giant evaporated. Only one was ever built, serial number 33-19, the lone survivor of an impossible dream. Yet, unlike most prototypes, it did not fade into obscurity. The Titan went to work in Sparwood's coal mines, hauling unimaginable loads for more than 13 relentless years. Despite its experimental design, it proved remarkably reliable, a mechanical marvel that endured the grind of daily duty, defying every expectation of fragility or failure. When it was finally retired in 1991, the people of Sparwood refused to let the Titan die. They preserved it as a monument, its green body gleaming beneath the mountain sun, its tires towering like watchful giants. Today, visitors from around the world stand in its shadow, marveling not just at its size, but at what it represents. A chapter in history when engineers built without fear, when ambition outweighed practicality. The Terex Titan 3319 was never a commercial triumph, but it became something far greater. A symbol of boundless vision, a legend forged in steel, a machine too bold to copy, too mighty to die. Unit Rig M64, 1948, the first of its kind. In 1948, while the world was still rebuilding from the ashes of war, a small Oklahoma company quietly sparked a revolution that would forever change the face of mining. The company was Unit Rig, and its creation, the M64, would become the blueprint for every off-highway haul truck that followed. It wasn't built by a global titan or forged in corporate boardrooms, but by a handful of engineers with oil-stained hands, slide rules, and a conviction that mining deserved machines built for the earth, not the highway. Machines that could endure punishment, not just perform under ideal conditions. Before the M64, miners relied on converted road trucks, civilian models stripped, reinforced, and overworked in environments they were never meant to survive. These makeshift haulers cracked under the strain of rock, mud, and relentless vibration. Their axles bent, their frames split, and their engines overheated in the choking dust. Productivity was throttled by breakdowns, inefficiency, and danger. Unit Rig saw the problem and the opportunity. What mining needed wasn't a modified truck. It needed a purpose-built hauler, born from the ground up with the bones of a tank and the soul of an industrial revolution. The M64 was their bold answer. It was primitive by today's standards, yet revolutionary for its time. Built around a rugged steel frame, it carried a 64,000-pound payload, powered by a Cummins diesel engine that delivered torque rather than speed. Its massive tires bit into loose terrain where road trucks faltered, and its articulated dump body, designed to withstand constant abuse, made it the first true off-highway dump truck, a category that quite literally did not exist before this machine rolled onto the scene. For miners, it was a revelation. No longer were they shackled to fragile, improvised vehicles. Now, they had a hauler bred specifically for their world, one that could crawl through pits, climb over rubble, and shrug off conditions that would cripple anything else on wheels. It wasn't just a tool, it was liberation, a promise that machines could finally match the brutality of the work they were built to serve. The M64's success didn't just transform operations, it transformed Unit Rig itself. Once a niche fabricator, the company became a pioneer in off-highway haulage, paving the way for future legends like the Lectra Haul series. And as giants like Euclid, Caterpillar, and Terex rose to prominence, they all followed a trail blazed by this humble green machine from Tulsa. Even today, more than 7 decades later, a few M64s survive. Relics preserved in collections and museums, their faded paint and dented frames whispering of an era when innovation was forged in steel and sweat. To stand beside one is to witness the dawn of a movement, the moment when the idea of a mining truck ceased to be an adaptation and became a destiny. The Unit Rig M64 was not the biggest nor the most powerful, but it was the first, the spark that ignited a movement, the ancestor of every giant that came after. It wasn't just a machine. It was the beginning, the Unit Rig M64, the first of its kind.